أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Conviction, duration of prayer, and the recipe of prayer. We've been talking of implementable, modifiable factors, things that you can take home, that you can actually use as fathers for better upbringing of your children. And those are the three things that I'm going to suggest in my closing. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was the son of Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam. You heard the beautiful verses how this son was taken away from him. You see the trial of Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. You see how people come to him and say, give up. It's too late. It's too long. Yusuf isn't coming back. His sons, his other sons are telling him, nobody else. And what is his response? His response is, I perceive the scent of Joseph. He has a conviction. His response is that I know what you know not from my Allah. His response is that I ain't giving up. His response is that I'm not looking at the clock. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam in the commentary of Surah Yusuf says, it took Hazrat Yaqub 40 years of prayers. 40. Sometimes I wonder, Joseph must have looked totally different by the time this father met him in Misr, in Egypt. 40 years. Imagine meeting your child, leaving him at the age of 10 approximately, seeing him as a man of 50 years old. That is the conviction, my brothers. If we don't have conviction, that's the difference between the prayer of Sir Sayyid and Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. One is praying for the sake of a circular reasoning, and the other says, I'm digging a well, I'm going to find water. So we've talked of prayer, but the implementable thing is conviction. Do you actually believe that something's going to happen as a result of this? Because that's what Holy Quran teaches us. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us when in Hadith Qudsi, Azza sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Allah Ta'ala says, I am as my servant thinks of me towards me. It's just a mind-boggling hadith. Even the scope of Allah, His might, His omnipotence is actually can be limited by our thought. If we think small of our God, then we are not having that conviction. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam says, Tumhara khuda utna hi mazboot hai jitna tumhara usme yaqeen mazboot. That's a modifiable factor. Think about it. It's in your control. That conviction, the might of Allah. So have conviction. That's number one. Number two is duration. We think and we talk of a lot of our Sahaba. They had a special connection or khulafa. Masih Maud Islam says, dua wo hoti hai jo dua khuda ke pyare karte hain. That is prayer that Masih Maud and his khulafa do. Now, of course, we have to live with this body. We have to live in our skin. Yes, our khulafa have the touch of an instant acceptance of prayer. But our trials could be different. For us, it may be a well that may take us years. That's important because as fathers, sometimes we want results fast. You know, in America, there's a common proverb, God, I'll be patient, but please hurry up. Even when we say we are patient, we are not patient. Sabr Jameel. That is the kind of patience prayer requires. That's what Surah Yusuf says. So it's important for us to remind ourselves. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, आखिर 40 बरस के बाद वो दुआएं खींचकर यूसुफ को ले ही आई. After 40 years, after all, those prayers were able to pull Yusuf back. So don't count seconds. It's important. As fathers, the second message is, it may take a very long time. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, Allah Ta'ala ne agar duaon mein mehroom rakhna hota, to wo jald jawab de deta. If he had to deprive you of the acceptance of prayer, he would have answered you immediately. मगर इस सिलसिले का लंबा होना कबूलियत की दलील है. But if you're not getting an answer, your prayer is not getting accepted, chances are it will be accepted. It is a hint, it is an argument towards the acceptance of prayer. क्योंकि करीम सायल को देर तक बिठाकर कभी महरूम नहीं करता. बखील से बखील भी ऐसा नहीं करता. वो भी सायल को अगर ज़्यादा देर तक दरवाजे पर बिठाए तो आखिर उसको कुछ ना कुछ दे ही देता है. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam is giving us a similitude of a person. Even if someone comes to a miserly person and if he waits for you for too long, in the end you're tempted to give him something. Here you're talking of Almighty Allah. So don't give up. My dear brothers, prayers, acceptance of prayers can take long. गर्ज दुआओं के सिलसिले के दराज होने से कभी घबराना नहीं चाहिए. That is the second message. Never be worried if there is a delay in your acceptance of prayers. We started working hard on this Ijtema more than 6 months ago. Talk of duration. These brothers sitting here, they've been praying. Up until 5 weeks ago, we looked at our registration, we were at 616. Nobody pressurizes us to these targets. Nobody asks us to find a number. It's not about number. It's yet again about seeing that little glimpse of our conviction. Do we believe in our Allah? Is He real? Do we believe, and how big is our belief in Him? Are we expanding our belief in Him in every year? And do we pray? Do we work hard? Up until a few weeks ago, we were at 600. We will give you the final count later. I know everyone is anxious to hear that number because that's a surrogate. You know, we see a glimpse of Allah there. He reaches out to us there. Eyes cannot reach Him, but He reaches to the eyes. So we will give you, because Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis Sayyidullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz is going to give us an address, I'll give you the final count in the end, but I'm not going to deprive you. Last we checked, our God is stronger than what we believe. 1161. One is what we asked. So far, He's blessed us with 1161, but we haven't stopped counting, we haven't stopped believing, and we will not stop praying, which brings me to the last point, the recipe of prayer. Everybody has a recipe. I shared a recipe with you in the opening of a father who travels when he's in anguish. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has given us a recipe that we should pray for each other. Because the angel of Allah who's appointed, there's a hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when you pray for someone, an angel is appointed on you who says, for you too, for you too. If you pray for the anguish of another brother, an angel is there saying, may your anguish be removed as well. If you are praying for the anguish of someone else, an angel, so Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, agar tumhari dua kabul nahi hoti, farishte ki to hogi. Masih Maud alayhi salam says, if your prayer will not get accepted, at least the angel's prayer will get accepted. So this is a beautiful recipe of the acceptance of prayer. It joins us as one community. Instead of looking at the shortcoming of our children, instead of saying, I saw your son in the mall with a girl, pray for that son, because you don't know what your son is doing at that moment. You don't know what your son may do next day. When you see a brother in anguish, you see someone's daughter doing something which was not befitting of that family, pray for that daughter, lest you may be tried with something tomorrow. And once again, Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has given us the warning that he says that people who slander others, they almost always get tested in the same trial themselves. Aib lagane wala. That's what Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says. So, which brings me to the close. There are fathers here. Let's pray. We have to think these are real issues that we are facing. These Yusufs come as gender neutral. We have daughters and we have sons who stand in for that Yusuf for us. We have fathers who are dealing with their sons who are dealing with chronic illnesses. May Allah give them health. We have sons, we have daughters whose fathers, I know they call you, they call me, they're still finding a match for their daughter. May Allah find a suitable match for them. There are fathers whose children have made bad choices. Allah forgives. So let us be more forgiving towards them as well, lest our children, God forbid, get tested in the same trial. And of course, many of us who may not have faced that trial yet because our children are young, but gosh, I tell you, we are scared of the wolf. We're scared as heck that in this society, our children are also going to grow up. So just because if your children are young does not make you immune of that fear. But if you have conviction, if you have prayer on your side, there is no reason for fear. Allah takhafu wa la tahzanu. Fear not, nor grieve. That's the message of Holy Quran. You are the followers of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. I also want you to please remember, gratitude is important, but prayer is the best gift that we can give to someone. It's not an easy thing. When we request someone, let's make it a little bit more than a traditional parting dua mein yaad rakhein. That's a big deal when we say someone, remember me in your prayers. That's a big task you gave someone right there and then. So my request is that people who worked hard, there are over 100 Zoma, Nazimeen, office holders. They have called you guys to a degree. That is why Allah has blessed. They have worked very hard. Pray for their children. I can tell you there are over 100 people who've been cooking this food, who've been giving you rides from airports and hotel rooms. Last night I came and right behind this curtain, there was an assembly line of 15 men who could have easily given that money. They were professionals. They could have easily given that money to somebody else to do that job for them, but they were putting those pictures in frames for all of you up until midnight. Pray for all these workers, for their families, for their children, that may Allah Ta'ala grant them such long life, physical and spiritual health, that they go on to do great things and don't go home with fear or grief. Yes, there is a desert, but we did not come here to die in the desert. We came here to change it into a garden. You came here as the ambassadors of Islam and Ahmadiyyat, with the link to Khalifatul Masih, with the link to the Allah Almighty. You have no reason to fear, you have no reason to grieve, but it starts with modifiable factors. Stop, forget about what you cannot change in life. Focus on what you can change. Have conviction. Don't give up if prayers are taking long for acceptance. And in the end, pray for each other. And let the miracle starts with the angels when they start praying for you and your children. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming here today. And let's continue to increase in conviction for the years to come. Jazakumullah.